Hello and welcome to this training course on equality, diversity and inclusion, which also features equity. I'm Jo and I'm going to be your trainer today. Let's dive in. So first module, we're going to be talking about a bit of an introduction to the course. Okay, so how to use this training package then? So firstly, please place your phone on silent so that you can concentrate on the training. If you're anything like me, you can get easily distracted, and it's so important that you do focus on the module that you're on. So by all means, take a break after each module, work at your own pace, but please think about really concentrating on the modules whilst you're doing them. There's a workbook that accompanies these videos for you to do your exercises in, and you will need to submit your workbook at the end as evidence that you've done the course, and so that can be kept on your file. So please do make sure that you're using that workbook as you go through. And then reflect on your own needs. For some, equality, diversity, and equity training is quite a challenging thing. So if that is you, then please think about doing the course in small amounts. Perhaps take breaks regularly and make sure you've got someone to talk to afterwards if there's anything that kind of comes up for you. There'll be a short knowledge check at the end, which we'll talk about once we get to the end of these modules. So just so you're aware now that you will need to do one at the end. So in terms of learning objectives on this course then, by the end of the training, you'll have a better understanding of the Equality Act and the 9 protected characteristics. You'll understand the difference between all these different terms: equality, equity, diversity and inclusion, and how they might show up in your role as a volunteer. You'll have different examples of equality, diversity and inclusion good practice, thinking particularly around the types of services that you do. You'll have a basic understanding of intersectionality and microaggressions and some awareness of bias and unconscious bias and how you might address that. And you'll be thinking about discrimination within your roles, how you'll see discrimination play out and how you might challenge that. So we're going to cover the introduction, which we're doing now. Then we'll move on to EDI terms. We'll look at the law, the Equality Act particularly. We'll consider discrimination and harassment and how that plays out. We'll look at bias and we'll finish with intersectionality and microaggressions. So here's me, I'm Jo, I'm your trainer for this course. I have a bit of a varied background in terms of services. I've managed multiple services and projects across a wide range of protected characteristics. So I've managed services where people have had Bengali workers, Somali workers, in their own language. I've managed mental health projects as projects for older people. So a wide range of different protected characteristics. And I've been in the voluntary sector for over 20 years. I've also managed diverse teams, so teams with lots of different protected characteristics in them. So I've got quite a background in kind of that equality, equality and diversity. So your first task then is to get hold of your workbook and jot down your thoughts around your knowledge on equality, diversity, inclusion and equity. Maybe you're really comfortable with equality, but you don't know much about equity, or perhaps you know a lot about diversity, but when you think about how inclusion works, that's more difficult. So pause the video here, take some time to write down kind of your knowledge and what you'd like out of the course, and then press play again when you're ready. So you finished module 1 already, and we're moving on to EDI terms.